Morning.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly.
Hi there.
Eric Greitens, a busy man, and still a topic of conversation in your column. This time, you get a hold of a friend who is urging him to do something. What's going on here?
Yeah, my Wednesday column is about a woman named Pat Rowe Kerr. She is a longtime victims advocate or veterans advocate here in Missouri. She may be the one person that Missouri veterans know better than Eric Greitens in terms of being somebody who's known for their work in the veterans community. And she was a supporter of Eric Greitens. She continues to be a supporter of the governor, but she wrote him a heartfelt letter on Facebook, and she wrote it on Facebook because she couldn't get him on the phone anymore, even though they've been friends for a while. And basically encouraging him to veto Senate Bill 43, which is the bill that the legislature passed that would make it easier to discriminate in employment situations in Missouri. It would weaken current discrimination protections. So if you're gay, if you are a person of color, if you are a woman, it will be easier to discriminate against you in the state of Missouri if Senate Bill 43 passes. And Pat Rowe Kerr knows a little bit about this because she filed a discrimination lawsuit and won against General Larry Kay, the head of the Missouri Veterans Commission, the director of the Veterans Commission. And what's interesting and what she points out in her Facebook note to the governor is two things. One, the governor testified on her behalf in that discrimination lawsuit, helped her win a $2.8 million verdict against the state. And secondly, he was the first call to her to congratulate her after she won the lawsuit. So this is not somebody who's out to get Eric Greitens. This is somebody who she says specifically to me, she loves him, she respects him, and she's appealing to the core of the human being that she believes he is to veto this bill.
Not only that, but either reading between the lines of your column, it seems like no matter what he does, she will still respect him and still consider him a friend.
Yeah, I've known Pat for a very long time, and she is an incredibly sweet woman. The reason that she is so well known by veterans in this state is she's incredibly loyal to them. They love her. She is the kind of person that if you come to the VA and you don't realize what sort of benefits you have or you can access, she will hold your hand. She will take you there. She will help you access the federal bureaucracy and the state bureaucracy, and she helps veterans get the services that they both deserve and qualify for. A lot of times in the federal bureaucracy, veterans don't know what services they actually have available to them, and for years now, she's helped them access those services. She is a very sincere woman when it comes to these issues, and she was discriminated against, and a jury of her peers said she was discriminated against, and what she's telling the governor is, if you sign this bill, I would have lost my case. If you sign this bill, other women, other veterans, other state employees are going to be discriminated against, and you'll be making it easier for them. And what she's telling the governor is, I don't believe that's who you are as a human being. Please veto this bill.
So has Governor Greitens alluded one way or the other as to how he's going to deal with Senate Bill 43?
To the best of my knowledge, he has not. I saw a brief interview he gave with Missouri Net in Jeff City the other day in which he said he hasn't decided yet. Pat Rowe Kerr is not alone in people that know the governor trying to get him to veto this bill. Nate Walker, who is a state rep from the northeast part of the state, he's a Republican. He was on the governor's statewide leadership team during the campaign. He also is encouraging the governor to veto this bill. And one of the things he points out is that the governor ran on a campaign of ethics. This is a bill that is sponsored by a state senator who is facing a discrimination lawsuit in his private business. This is a lawsuit that would protect that state senator. It's a complete conflict of interest. It's the kind of thing that the governor ran against during the campaign. And so Nate Walker, that conservative state rep Republican, also telling the governor, you have to veto this bill. It's a bad bill for the people of the state of Missouri.
Tony, what happened to Pat Rowe Kerr that she was awarded $2.8 million from the executive director of the Missouri Veterans Commission?
A couple of different things in the case. She was she alleged that she was discriminated against. They fired her. And they alleged that they fired her because of budget problems. But during the case, the evidence was presented that they didn't actually have a budget problem. And in fact, woman after woman in that office and soldiers who had served under Larry K. in Afghanistan came forward and said, no, he's harassed us, he's discriminated against. They produced evidence that basically Pat Rowe Kerr was fired because she's a woman and because she was too old.
Does
the jury bought the evidence.
Does General Larry Kay still have a job as executive
General
director?
Larry Kay still has a job. He is still the director of the Veterans Commission. After the jury verdict came out, there was some push to get rid of him. It hasn't happened. It didn't happen under Governor Nixon. It hasn't happened under Governor Greitens. He still has a job, and Pat Rowe Kerr is saying, she's also talked to me about the fact that he still shouldn't be there. The evidence was overwhelming that he discriminated against her, and there are other lawsuits against the Veterans Commission since Pat Rowe Kerr filed hers. So this is an ongoing problem for the governor and for the state.
We should also say that according to the article, your article at stltoday.com, the trial wasn't in St. Louis City; it was in Cole County.
No, this was in Cole County. This was a the center of the state, a pretty generally rural and Republican area of the state. Now, it is an area with a lot of state employees, so a lot of the members of that jury are familiar with state government service and that sort of thing. But this is not a to use the governor's words sometimes, a liberal hellhole St. Louis jury that gave this discrimination complaint to Pat Rowe Kerr. This was a salt of the earth Cole County jury that said, look, discriminating against women and discriminating against people because of their age is unacceptable.
That's Tony Messenger, Never a Dull Moment. Read it, stltoday.com, every Tuesday and Thursday here. Tony, have a good weekend.
Good to talk to you. Enjoy your assignment tomorrow.
Thank you, Tony Messenger. I should say, you got it. I should say my assignment, I'm going to New York.
It's a real tough assignment.
There's a talkers convention